Welcome, friends, to the Play Guitar Podcast. I'm Lee, and I'm here to help you become the guitar player that you always wanted to be. If your guitar practice feels more like something you have to do now, like a chore, it's not something you're looking forward to doing anymore, which is sad. It's a sad thing, because we all come to this thing excited, right? And at some point you just go, man, this is just not working out for me. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. You know, you're not looking forward to sitting down with a guitar anymore. It's not time to quit. You might not be doing things in a way that keeps you interested. It might be time to shake things up a little bit. Today we're talking about how to change up the practice routine. Keep it fun. Get the results you're wanting. If you're just starting out, you've been playing for years, like I always say, a fresh approach every once in a while. I've been playing this thing since 1982. Whew. Makes a big difference when you change things up. I've changed things up a lot. I get really good at changing up my practices. And a lot of times it's about what's going on outside of the practice room. It could be, I've got a band, like right now, I'm going back through a lot of songs that I used to play. I haven't played in a while. And I'm running the sets, trying to get them better. So my practice looks a little bit different than it used to do. But these things make a big difference in how much you improve. And the most important thing is in being happy, enjoying the process. This week I did a video. What was it called? It was called 5 Beginner Guitar Practice Hacks That You've Never Tried. That was the title. Right there. What did we do for that one? We did gamifying your practice sessions, making a game out of it, engaging your ears. That's something that beginners don't ever do. They're just happy to be able to put the fingers where they're supposed to go. Visualizing what the scales look like, what the chords look like when you're not at the guitar. Being able to have a mental picture of those things. And then we talked about practicing in short bursts. Maybe playing, you're stretching your practice throughout the day. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Focus for 5 minutes in those things. And also collaborating early. Being beginners together with someone. So those are the things in the YouTube video that we did. But this is the podcast. We're just going to dive a little bit deeper than the video did. I'm going to share simple and powerful ways to bring variety to your practice sessions. We're going to set creative goals. We're going to experiment with some things. Try different techniques. These are all about making practice something you can't wait to do. Are you ready? You got your guitar? No, you're probably on your way to work right now. Maybe the guitar's in the back seat. Who knows? Maybe you got a guitar at work. Raise your hand if you've got a guitar at work. Life is good for you. That's awesome. That's awesome. But we're going to try to make at least our time together a good part of your day and make you excited for the next time you start to practice. First, I've got the outline here. The first part of the outline is why traditional practice holds you back. Have you ever been that person where you think, gosh, I'm so weird. This works for everybody else and it doesn't work for me. Just playing the technique exercises, just playing the scales up and down, just playing the chords back and forth. It doesn't excite you. You ditch it and you go straight to playing songs. This is not, you're not weird for that. In fact, this is something that happens to most people over time. When you come into the guitar, you're coming into something you don't know anything about. So you're relying on others to tell you what to do. And you're going to get that goal of sounding great, or getting a lot of attention. I'm just going to keep it there. Getting a lot of attention for playing guitar and all of those things. But the practice part is it's not geared for amusement. It's geared for getting you your goal in the shortest amount of time possible. That's the idea of practice. You're practicing something bad until it sounds good. Then you move on, right? If you practice something that already sounds good and you just keep practicing that same thing, you're not moving forward anymore. You're kind of just hanging out at the starting line, just waiting. You're just repeating the same thing over and over and over again. So the problem with that is that even though this is the most efficient way to do something, have you ever tried to do something efficiently and you realize, hey, this ain't for me? I'm just not an efficient person. I've got some things that I need to enjoy if I'm going to do it. Guitar was supposed to be enjoyable. Yes, I'd like to get better, but I really need to enjoy these things. So the drills, these are the things that are really the most boring for people. Playing along to a metronome, that seems to anger people a lot. The one measure of that, and it starts to go, oh, this is not what I know. When I played in a church for a little while, and we had to play to a click all the time. I had a negative reaction to that, playing to a click, having all my music planned out ahead of time, and it's going to happen exactly when the click says it's going to happen. It's not fun. So what we're going to do with the traditional practice, we have to kind of turn it into growth. Okay, how can I grow and still have fun? So one of the things that we talked about in the YouTube video this week is turning it into a game. And I shared that a lot of my students, they like to do flashcards. That was something that I've seen a lot. And there's a lot of these little guitar cheat sheets. I have a couple students who have those too, where it's like you have this piece of paper and it has everything you need to know about scales or pentatonic scales, and it doesn't get into depth about anything. It's just little cheat sheet for you to say, oh yeah, there's that note on the fretboard and those things. But recalling them on your own is where it's at. Being able to put your finger down on the guitar and know that you're playing an E flat, right? Or know that you're playing an F sharp, or know that you're playing a G, or know that you're playing there's an F there. So having a command of this thing is kind of the goal, isn't it? To just be able to play, and to be able to play, you need to know what your fingers are doing all the time. So we talked about it. Flashcards was the one thing that seemed to help people the most. And we talked about the different types of flashcards you could do. You just do the notes on the frets, or you could do what are the notes in a G major chord? What are the notes in an A major chord? What's the key signature for F sharp? How many sharps or how many flats? All of those things. So there's so many different ways to go that flashcards can help. It puts a problem right in front of your face, and then you're on the line there, being able to either recall that or not, or having to turn the card around and get the answer. That's defeating. I couldn't get it, but these kind of games are incredibly, incredibly effective for playing. The other thing we talked about in the other video was like a point system, giving yourself some points, saying, okay, if I can do this, I get this many points. If I missed one or two things, and scoring how you're going, making it a game. And then eventually the gratification comes where, I'll be able to play this next. I know this song's too far ahead for me, but if I make this many points, I'll go ahead and let myself do that. Or buying something. Now it's always the big thing. the buying of gear is always important there. But making practice more fun and effective. The thing that I find the most effective is your practice space, getting it together, having everything feel good, and not just being efficient, not feeling good. I have certain things. I have this little, it's like a little crystal where they etched inside it, a picture of a guitar. My mother gave me this a long time ago, and this has been at every practice, and I've lived in a lot of places. Every practice area that I had, this was right there. I don't feel like practicing if it's not there, so I keep it with me all the time. You can get little fake plants like these, right? Makes you feel better. I don't know why, but it does. But getting your practice space together really, really makes the time that you spend on guitar feel good. It feels, you hate to be in a real, Well, some people like that. Some people like neat and clean and clinical. That allows them to think. But you're probably not one of those people. Maybe you are. I don't know. But reflecting yourself in your surroundings, this is going to make practicing more fun and effective. Now, there is a line. Here's where I practice in here. I have all of my gear. I have a lot of monitors, computers. I can record here. I can do a lot of different things here. And sometimes just good old practice is hard to do because you've got a lot of distractions too. So making sure that you're not distracted when you're playing is really, really important too. That could be in a lot of different ways. You could be distracted because maybe the place that you practice is in a common part of the house where there's a lot of people around. You can't get that time alone to work on things. Maybe the place that you practice, you can hear a lot of street noise, especially if you live in the city. If you're near a window, you can get distracted from those things. It could be you could have like a chair that you use that's very, very uncomfortable. All these things are very distracting. Sometimes you don't even realize it, but you just go, man, I only practiced for 10 minutes today. What happened? What happened there? Getting to the bottom of it, well, what did happen? Why did I stop practicing? And making some changes there. Another way that you can make practice a little bit more fun is improv. We all kind of do that, right? When we sit down and noodle on the guitar, we're kind of taking something we know, but maybe playing it 2-3 times. Maybe the third time we play it a different way. That's kind of the beginnings of improv, right? We like the way the guitar sounds. We like the way it feels. I like when I play this. I don't know. That could be the lick that sounds great to you. It feels good. Bending strings. It could be those things. But adding improvisation as a tool in your practice could make things a little bit more fun, especially when you learn a new lick. Work on the new lick. It could be a new scale, but making sure that you have a time in your practice where you sit down and play a backing track over top of that and improv for a little bit and test yourself. How can I incorporate this new thing I learned into the bag of tricks that I already know? And have that be a section of your practice. Be very, very important. Because that's the goal, isn't it? When we learn these new things, and eventually when we want to bring them to the part of us that plays for people, right? If you don't have that, it's in you. That part of this is me when I play for people. You might be practicing in the bedroom and everything like that, but back your mind, maybe if it worked out one day, if all the planets aligned, I could get together with some folks and I'd play for people. And this is what I would want to sound like if I did. Very important, very important. And improv is a good tool to do. You can throw that, make sure you do a little bit of improv every day in your practice. The last thing I want you to think about today is sticking to it, right? How can you stick to this? And we're talking about having fun and getting results. So if you have a routine, and your routine bores you, doesn't challenge you, or challenges you too much. For some reason, it's like two magnets, the wrong polarity where they repel each other. You and practice start to repel each other. Take a look mostly at your routine. What is it that you're practicing? What are these goals that you've set? In coaching, it's very important that we set goals. For the coaching student and for myself. So what you talk about playing guitar and it sounds aimless. Well, that's taking aim. We're going to take some aim, building the routine that you'll stick to. So one of the things that I've found in creating different practice routines for myself is when I'm not flexible, when I am all or nothing with it, it rarely works. Usually things go off the rails. So one of the things I had to learn about is how to be flexible with my goal setting. So we'll say, okay, in 3 months, I'm going to learn how to play all of Led Zeppelin 4. Well, maybe I only got to Stairway to Heaven and that's it. Maybe I couldn't go any further. Was it Black Dog? Right? Maybe I got to 2 songs and I couldn't get the rest of it. Right? Was that it? I'm done? Forget it. I didn't achieve that goal of being able to play the whole album. Well, maybe that was a little lofty of a goal for you where you are at the time. So next time go, okay, I'm going to pick an album that I want to be able to play. I'm going to do at least the first 3 songs and see if that fits into the time schedule. So maybe the next time that you play, you might do 4 songs. Push it a little bit there, but don't give yourself so much to do that you're stressed because you're like, I'm never going to make my goal. I'm never going to. Well, let's, a little bit of that is good, but the defeatist, when you just say that, I just can't, there's no way, I'm going to be realistic. There's no way I can achieve that goal. Well, it's going to repel you from practice again. It's not going to be fun. Fun is that learning, and this is what I do as a coach too. I learn right where the student's at, and I learn how to push them just a little bit, just so they feel that sense of accomplishment, and it starts to build from there. And this is long-term practice. This is long-term staying on a schedule. And the last 2 parts of this is mixing up what you do with your routine, and then making sure that you celebrate when you do make those goals. And we talked about those a whole lot. I won't go into a lot of those today, but mixing it up, something I always do. My routine never stays the same for too long. I might do 1 or 2 months and then all of a sudden realize, I'm falling behind in this other area. Maybe it's time for me to make a focus of my routine for that. The main routine that I share with most people is just a 2-part, right? The most important. Practice that sounds bad, play that sounds good. They're equally as important. Keep them both going on. Use the play section for playing songs that you need. Say you have a band and you're going to play these songs. Play these songs you already know. Put them into repetition. In the practice, here's the new songs that don't sound so good. I'm going to play these here until I can move them from the practice side, the side that sounds bad, to the play side, the side that sounds good. Now that's an accomplishment right there. So I'm going to start to wrap it up here, but I just want to say thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I enjoy it every week. It's a lot of fun. One of the things we talked about today is your practice space, getting your practice space to feel like you, like you just feel so comfortable in there. You can't wait to get back there. I have something to help you with that. It's a free guide. It's my practice space checklist. And this is how you're going to learn to create your own highly effective practice space. And you can grab the link in the description of this podcast or go over to Play Guitar Academy. It's on the front page right there. Okay, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining me today for the Play Guitar Podcast. Make sure to hit the button below to subscribe to the show. If you've benefited from the show, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. I would really appreciate it. It's the best way we can get this to more people around the world and help more and more people. And if more help, structure, and results in your guitar playing sound good to you, head over to Play Guitar Academy. You can try membership out for just $1 for a limited time, and then it eventually will go back to the regular price. But you can get in there, check everything out, and see if membership is something that you would like to do. We can do some hanging out together there. Okay? All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next episode.